name is Peter J. Robichaud. I am a professional artist and I live in Halifax, Nova Scotia. I brought in a rather unique item that I found in Afghanistan. It's a Soviet helmet, but I thought it was a landmine.
During the height of the Cold War, the Soviet Union turned its longtime support of Afghanistan into a full-on pursuit of total communist control. Instituted in 1978, the government of the Democratic Republic of Afghanistan, or DRA, was in opposition to Islam and met with fierce resistance from Afghani rebels known as the Mujahideen. With the benefit of fighting on familiar ground, their insurgency was informed, effective, and eventually victorious. In 1989, a decade after its outbreak, the war ended when a peace treaty signed by Mikhail Gorbachev forced the Soviets to abandon their futile campaign. Despite the celebrated defeat, Afghanistan was left in turmoil, broken and economically destroyed. Notoriously disastrous and senseless, the Soviet occupation is now commonly referred to as Russia's Vietnam.
I brought in a Soviet helmet and a Soviet hat known as an ushanka that I found in Afghanistan, along with this collection of medals, thinking that it was a landmine.
Oh, I see. And so, what made you explore it further as opposed to calling the EOD guys to blow it?
Well, we had some cursory EOD training ourselves, and I'm quite confident and capable of clearing mines. I have cleared such. And this did not appear to be hostile or disruptive to our patrol in any way. It looked like a quick clear, and then we could carry on our track and carry on with our mission.
Right. So what you have here, Peter, for the medals, the easy ones here are the two cap badges that were worn on their field service cap, or at least what I refer to as field service cap. Most people would think is that Air Force, wedge cap sort of thing. Yeah, so that was the cap badge that was worn on the front, as opposed to this great big badge because it doesn't fit. So then you've got this medal here, which is the 70th anniversary of the foundation of the Soviet Armed Forces. Okay, and you've got this one for impeccable service, which was given for 10 years service, that you served impeccably in the Soviet forces. That one there is for the 30th anniversary of the Great Patriotic War. That one is for the Medal of Labor, which was given when you retired from the civil service. So that's one of those oddballs to be in there. And then this one was for service in Afghanistan, as we can see the odd front with the Cyrillic writing in there. So it's a really odd combination, in my opinion, to be found in a little cache like this. Like it just doesn't scream out some veteran hiding their stuff.
Right.
It screams souvenirs, that someone has picked up somewhere, but again, not souvenirs that one would find in Afghanistan. Like it'd be different if you went to the market while you were serving there. The market's probably full of this stuff, but from something left over from the Russian invasion of Afghanistan, it's just a really, really odd combination.
I thought so as well, and I particularly thought the circumstances in which these souvenirs were found was rather odd, to say the least.
Yeah, exactly. So Peter, when it sounded like it was quite an elaborate operation to pull this helmet and make sure that it wasn't an explosive device and you were with the rest of the patrol. First of all, how did you end up owning it? And secondly, how did you get home?
Well, considering that I saw it, I cleared it, I made sure it was safe, and I marked it. The rest of the team, which was just 6 of us, decided that I should keep it. And I didn't argue.
Right. And then you got it home, just packed it in your kit bag and no one cares?
Well, considering that we were with the Special Forces, we kind of bypassed a lot of the inspections that most conventional Canadian military troops would go through. So there's a lot of gunpowder residue on just about everything that we owned, and going through an airport that detects these things would be somewhat problematic. So all of these items, when we finally got back to Canada, were swept clean and clear of any kind of anything they could possibly contain, including tritium, as you know, is a radioactive substance that could perhaps have been near these things. Everything was safe, everything was clear. There was no problem with me keeping it.
Right. What are your plans for these? Are they just going back up in the bookcase so you can stare at them when you're sipping your scotch and painting your dog, or do you have other plans?
I do. I actually would like to donate these to the Army Museum if they would have it. I think it belongs into some special place other than my house, and if we could somehow communicate the story with this is the more important part.
Yeah, that is the important thing, and the new curator is looking at redoing the Afghanistan exhibit. So, with the story, it makes more sense than just throwing some Soviet stuff into the corner of a display case. So
Right.
I'm sure that we'll have a little discussion with the curator and we can make that work.
Fantastic.
So Peter, once again, thank you for coming on Militaria with these wonderful artifacts, and hopefully we'll see you down at the museum and speaking with the curator, and we hopefully get your story out there with these artifacts and the revamped Afghanistan exhibit.
Fantastic. Look forward to it.
I think the takeaway for this is that not everything is as it seems. When you look at something, is there more to the story? And this goes with anything that anyone owns at home. If it's something that's been in your family or has come into your family through family members, there's a family story and there's something involved. And while you need to find out that story, because if Peter weren't here with that stuff, we wouldn't have known the story. And if it just came in a box to the museum, we wouldn't know the story. And there's artifacts in people's homes right now that unless they get going and talk to Grandpa or talk to whoever brought it in, that story's going to disappear and they're just going to have stuff.
Well, it certainly illustrates some unique story. I don't think there's anything particularly unique about the item per se, but the story behind the item. As with thousands of these artifacts that we have on display at the Army Museum, have a very interesting story. And if people take the time to look at the text, they will learn those stories.